episode 599 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Gonna be talking about tonight's episode of WWE Monday Night RAW with the quarterfinals of the King and Queen of the Ring wrapping up. We now know who will be competing in the semi-finals next week on Raw. All that right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic on this Monday night. Thank you for tuning in. I am Lance Brock. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Going to be talking all about tonight's WWE Monday Night RAW, which featured the end of the quarterfinals of the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournaments. We now know the semifinals. They are set and they will be taking place next week on WWE Raw from Greensboro, North Carolina. But tonight, let's get right into it. Monday Night Raw, live from Greenville, South Carolina. Our commentators for the evening, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. And we start off with the Scottish Warrior, or is it the Scottish Psychopath? Drew McIntyre. We follow him out from the back through Gorilla out to the ring. Cuts a promo, of course, on CM Punk, and he disappoints Greenville there, mentioning that he only goes to the big cities or the A cities brothers. And then he brings up, as he calls, paper champion Damian Priest. And then we see the world heavyweight champion Damian Priest. He comes out and he agrees to give Drew McIntyre a shot at the world heavyweight championship. That was not officially made yet tonight, so I'm guessing it will, though, probably take place at the King and Queen of the Ring 2 weeks from, or 1 week from this Saturday. And our first match on Raw tonight is in the Queen of the Ring quarterfinals. We have representing Damage Control Io Sky taking on the Submission Magician Shayna Baszler. And let me just say, this was a fantastic match. And so far, with the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring matches, I think we have definitely seen some pretty good wrestling so far. Sky and Baszler having a very good opening match on Raw tonight. It is Io Sky getting the win with the moonsault to advance to the semifinals next week on Raw. And she will be facing the winner of the other quarterfinals match later tonight between Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyria. But I will be talking about that in just a little bit. And next up, we have a surprise appearance from former WWE ring announcer Lillian Garcia to announce the next match, and it's the quarterfinals of the King of the Ring, Kofi Kingston taking on Gunther. Another, I thought, really good match here. Kofi and Gunther. Gunther gets the win via submission to advance to the semifinals next week. And Gunther will be taking on the winner of the other quarterfinal match tonight between Jey Uso and Ilya Dragunov. And I will talk about that a little later on. And we have a backstage segment. Chad Gable back there with the Alpha Academy. He tells Otis he better take Sami Zayn out before the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship at the King and Queen of the Ring. And he also gives a warning to Tozawa. He has a match against Bronson Reed tonight, and he tells him he better not do that dance. And then he gets on to Maxine Dupree for losing her Queen of the Ring match over the weekend. And then we see Ivy Nile, and he tells her, basically says she's got it, but to tell her to stay away from Maxine Dupree. I forget what he said exactly. And our next Queen of the Ring quarterfinal match, Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyria. I know I sound like a broken record already tonight, but definitely a very good match here between these two. Is Valkyria getting the win to advance to the semifinals next week on Raw. So is that the Queen of the Ring semifinals. It'll be Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria. Should be another good match, like I said earlier. So far in both tournaments, the King and the Queen of the Ring tournaments have had some very good wrestling matches, and I'm sure it will continue. Next up, Sami Zayn taking on Otis. Also, in the back earlier, Chad Gable warned Otis not to do the caterpillar during the match. And Chad Gable is at ringside, and at one point Otis looks like he's getting ready to do it. Gable tries to stop him, but Otis goes ahead and does the caterpillar anyway. And Sami Zayn gets the win, defeating Otis. After the match, Gable gets in the ring and gets in the face of Otis, just yelling at him, tearing him down. And then Sami Zayn comes back in, hits Gable with an exploder suplex. And Gable exits. Otis tries to help him up, and then Gable slaps him in the face. Next up, we have Dakota Kai and the Women's World Champion, the Man, Becky Lynch. And Liv Morgan ends up getting involved in this one to continue that feud between her and Lynch. Next up on Monday Night Raw, we have a 4-way number 1 contenders match for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. It is the Judgment Day, J.D. McDonough and Finn Balor taking on the New Catch Republic, the Creed Brothers, the Authors of Pain. And pretty good match here. Earlier in the night, we saw Carlito now trying to be a part of the Judgment Day. But earlier, Damian Priest told him once again doesn't really want any part of him. But then during this match, Carlito comes out and assists Balor and McDonough, helping them to pick up the victory and win this match and become the number 1 contenders. And then in the back, we see Damian Priest come around to McDonough more. Or, not McDonough, sorry about that, Carlito, even calling him Migo. And now our main event tonight on Monday Night Raw, the other King of the Ring quarterfinals match, and it is main event Jey Uso taking on Eli Dragunov. Good main event, and it is Jey Uso getting the win, defeating Dragunov with the Uso Splash. And next week in the semifinals, Jey Uso will go one-on-one with Gunther. And then we see Gunther come out. Him and Jey have a face-to-face in the middle of the ring. So next week, live from Greensboro, North Carolina, at the Greensboro Coliseum, both semifinals matches for the King and the Queen of the Ring tournaments. That was tonight's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, which I thought was pretty good episode of Raw tonight. Like I said, had some solid wrestling on it. The tournament matches, in my opinion, were very good. And now, before I wrap up tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, gonna go over a little bit of news going on in the world of pro wrestling. Cash Wheeler has his case, I should say, for the assault with the deadly weapon has been dropped by prosecutors. So I guess that is some good news there. If you remember, that happened about around All In weekend, All In London last year. So that is some pretty good news for Cash Wheeler. EC3 will be defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against Ryoki Honda at All Japan Pro Wrestling May 29th. And Wesley will be appearing on tomorrow night's episode of NXT. And Anthony Henry one half of the Workhorsemen has been cleared to return to the ring after his recent injury. And that looks like about all the news I have for tonight. And also doing the video version of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. So if you're listening on Spreaker, you can also go to the 360 Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel and watch the video of it as well. And go in the comment section, either on Spreaker or YouTube, wherever you're listening at, and leave your thoughts on tonight's episode of WWE Monday Night RAW. Also, you can, while you're there, you can go ahead and you can leave your predictions. 1 week from this weekend, we have WWE King and Queen of the Ring and AEW Double or Nothing. So leave your prediction for those big events in the comments down below, either right here, Spreaker, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to 360 Wrestling Podcast at, if they have a comment section. Or, as always, if you want to talk anything pro wrestling, anything going on in the world of pro wrestling, you can. Or if you want to email 360 Wrestling Podcast at email.com. And that is all about it for 360 Wrestling Fanatic episode 599. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Wrestling Fans, the Tuesday episode. So hope all of you will be tuning in tomorrow morning. And until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.